Okay, we are back with our live coverage here at T3 in the Big Easy, New Orleans. And we have with us today, or right now I should say, Patrick Shaddow, founder and CEO of Syntax. Patrick, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
All right, I know you just literally got off the main stage, and I was able to hear some of it. And something that you mentioned really caught my attention, building a moat around your business, which everyone probably wants to do. How do we build that moat?
Yeah, I'd say so. So, kind of what I was talking about on stage was a trend that I've been seeing, which is largely the convergence of wealth management and asset management. And, the traditional model is, the wealth managers own the relationships with the end clients, and, they're effectively leveraging the asset managers' securities and ETFs and mutual funds and financial products. And when a wealth manager uses an asset manager's investment products, they're effectively bringing that asset manager into the relationship with their client, right? Because when that client opens up their statement, they're seeing, the whatever issuer's name or whatever SMA technology provider's name in their account statement. And so, what I'd say is that RIAs who begin to create their own intellectual property and surface that to their clients, they effectively begin to build a moat around their practice, around their RIA practice, where everything could be cited as Patrick Shaddow RIA, large cap core, large cap growth, large cap value, small cap core, small cap value, small cap growth, right, and whatever it is, as opposed to buying other people's products. So if you ever find yourself in a position where you are effectively defending this this third-party asset manager, that's where I would stop and say maybe it's time for us to start building our own products.
Do it yourself. So
that's right.
It sounds a little bit like a direct index, but we were talking off camera. It's not a direct index. How is it different?
Yeah, the whole concept of direct indexing, it surfaced back in 2010s, and there were a whole lot of disadvantages to it at that time. The fractional share capability wasn't as prevalent, as pronounced as it is.
Yeah.
The custodial platforms weren't as sophisticated as they are and efficient as they are. The custodial practices again. And the IP was different, right? And so there are these preconditions for direct indexing to actually become a real thing, right? And those three preconditions actually became relevant, and they're now available in the market. And it's all about taking intellectual property, the actual process which is undergone every time a new ETF or a mutual fund that tracks an index. There's a period where the intellectual property provider, the S&Ps, the Bloombergs, the MSCIs, the FTSE Russells, they're actually creating an index and licensing that index for the purpose of a financial product, right? And what I'd say is, using a platform now, what otherwise would typically be the sole province of these large, very sophisticated firms is now available to the RIA community through platforms like what I have to offer, right?
Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, the difference between a direct indexing in the conventional sense of, you have these, technology providers out there, and we can all talk about who they are, but what they're effectively doing is they're looking at the underlying holdings of an ETF, ripping those holdings and saying, this is where you can tax loss harvest and this is where you can buy these securities, right? That is literally ripping off someone else's intellectual property. What I'm offering to the market is the ability for an RIA to create their own branded intellectual property, surface that to their clients, own the underlying methodology, the investment philosophy, and communicate that directly with their clients, as opposed to communicating the benefit of using some third-party asset manager's products.
Right. That sounds like actually a really interesting solution. So how does it actually work? And we're coming up on time, but just broadly, I worked with your team. I have, the Chuck Index. Who knows what that might even be, but let's say there is.
I'm looking forward to it.
So we have the Chuck Index. How do I execute on that?
Yeah, so it all comes down to integrations, right? And so what we've done at our firm is we've begun to integrate with our wonderful partners like Advizon, like Schwab Advisor Services, like Trade PMR, or the list kind of goes on. And effectively through their systems, you can take the flat file that's produced from our system, and it automatically gets sent to the OMS like iRebalance in order for any one individual advisors to actually implement the IP that they've just created.
All right, that's interesting. So OMS, for you broker-dealer advisors that are thinking about going RIA, they use it every day.
Yep.
They don't know they are, right, oftentimes, but it's being done by Mother Merrill or one of the big parts.
Yep.
But the order management system is something that's interesting because as an RIA, you could do things like work with your syntax firm, create your own index, and then work directly to get it from your shop over to my end platform, which I think is a great advantage.
And then we bring it to the trade file, and then it can be executed. And at that point, by working with the same platforms that you're already working with, right? So our job right now has largely been to surface our platform through these intermediary channels, the same channels that every RIA is already using.
All right, that's a great place to put a pin in for today. Patrick, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's it for this segment, but we have 5 more to go today. So this is like the main day 2 here for me at least at T3. I'll see you in an hour with some more content, and thanks for joining us. Patrick, that was great.
Thanks.